Hello, who's here? Oh, Keystone, good to see you. And let's see, Christina, Rainbow Snuggle Fritz, Yvonda, hello, Gray Phoenix Heart, Det Cesarette, UFO Mark II. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing very well on this Easter weekend. I have some messages from the Pleiadians to share with you all today. Some are some notes, and one is a channeled message. The channeled message that I received, it was for the Starseed technology class that I'll be co-hosting with Kathy on Monday night. If you guys are interested in joining, we're going to be bringing in the Pleiadians and working on the messages that I'm going to be sharing with you today on activating our DNA and increasing frequency. So if you're interested, it's Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and the links for that are in the description below. Another note just before I get into the messages is, guys, I have my Telegram group already, my channel. I have a Telegram channel, and I've dropped a part of the message in there already yesterday, I believe, or was it 2 days ago? I'm losing track of time. And so just so you know, I'm using my Telegram channel to bring you some insight, some wisdom, some uplifting information, sometimes some humor, mostly to do with spirituality as well as reclaiming your freedom and your sovereignty. Okay, so I'm not going to really let it get too political, specifically because of the message I'm going to be sharing with you today. Not that there's anything wrong with politics or anything like that, but there's a reason why. And so just as I let more of you guys get in here, let me see, Mark, Anna, Cormac, good to see you, Fearless, Monica, Zachary, Daniela, so good to see you guys. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about first is the message that I was receiving is this awareness that I think many of us are coming to, that the awakening kind of more on a global level is not the awakening that we kind of expected. And for some of you, I'm certainly not wanting to speak for all of you, but on a whole, I think many of us can agree that things are, when we think of New Earth, when we think of ascension, when we think of all of that, what we're currently seeing today is not exactly what we probably all thought was going to play out. But they want us to keep in mind, the first thing they wanted us to be aware of is, do not judge the process that others must go through to spark their own awakening. Okay, that was the first point they gave me. And they're saying this because we are in a rapid awakening phase, even though it may not look like it on the surface. There is a lot of activity happening below the ground for many souls at this time that are initiating their awakening. However, they may not even be aware of it, and it may not even be aware to those who are awakened around them yet. Things are happening underground, so to speak, so more on the unconscious level, not on the conscious level. But even still, we all signed up to come down at this time, to be here for this moment, many moments, to participate in the awakening of our own individual journey, as well as part of the awakening globally. And we have to realize that how everyone awakens is going to be individual, and some people need to be taken into the very dark places where they're forced to now look at things they never wanted to look at before. Many of us, this other point is, many of us have been afforded a much more individual rock bottom experience to finally spark the light within us. Okay, so for instance, for myself, I've had a few rock bottom moments in my life that involved alcohol and other things. And, times where I look back on myself, especially in my late 20s and early to mid 30s, these were times where I'm not proud of. I look back and I've mentioned this once or twice on the channel. I look back and I just want to hug that version of myself so much wounding, so much pain. But these are the things that awakened me. These are the things that made me want more for myself, and also started to peel back the veil, okay, pull the veil back so that I could start to see things that I'm sure my guides have been trying to get me to see for quite some time. Being pulled into the polarities is part of the manipulation, but also to awaken to the unhealed parts within yourself that you are not in acceptance of. Okay, so this is the third point, okay? So there's two points to this part. When it comes to the polarization that we're seeing heavy polarization, and we're seeing it in every community, including this one, okay? And it's important to know that the polarization is part of the manipulation to keep your frequency in a lower state. And it's also to prevent you from holding a consistent frequency for longer periods of time, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. So important to know that that is part of the manipulation. So if you are finding yourself getting pulled into the polarities of needing your truth to be heard more than someone else's, or, feeling like someone's not listening to you, or, you feel like no one's listening, like maybe you're not listening to someone else, but it doesn't matter what side of the fence you fall on. If you find yourself sitting on either side of the polarization more than not, you're getting pulled into the manipulation of the energies. And this is by design, but it's also partly part of the process that we all signed up for. It's part of us to awaken the unhealed parts within us that get triggered into a point of needing someone to hear our truth, or needing someone to see the world through our eyes. Okay, so this is for us to go in and heal the parts of us that are not in acceptance, that we do not hold in acceptance. When you look at the whole, the sphere of unity, okay, there is dark and light, but it's all held within the same sphere. And it's important to know that all is embraced, and to be in acceptance of it all, despite perhaps the corruption that many of us are trying to bring to light. You can't reject it at the same time. You have to be in acceptance of it and know that it's part of the journey that we all signed up for. It's part of the game. It's part of the process. And we're using it to help assist us. I also want to say that there is something else that came in on top of this, that if you really don't feel like people are awakening right now, I want, for all of you guys in the live chat right now, and for anyone who's watching this after the live, okay, drop this answer in the comments. I want to know, how many of you started to awaken when this illness came to light last March? Okay, the big corona. When that started to come to light, who in this audience actually woke up because of that? The thing about polarities is when they go to the extremes, it forces a fracturing even within us. And it causes a fracturing that causes someone to realize something's not right here. And it is causing the awakening. Unfortunately, for many of us who have been maybe awakened for quite some time, and we're hoping that this is going to be the turnaround year, it is, but not in the way that we may have perceived it. And it's important to remember this, because so often do we have this idea of how the plan should look, or God's plan. What's that saying? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, like there's always a higher version that none of us see that can come into play. And we have to be aware that there are attributes of that absolutely coming into play right now. The next message I received is fractal shifts and awakenings are happening. Part of the human programming is to see a linear process play out. This will not be linear. Okay, so the awakening is not going to be linear, and it's going to be fractally. I have an additional message that came in to go with this, and it was Things will continue to look as they do now with shifts moving away. Okay, so things will continue to look as they do right now. Okay, however, there will be shifts of moving away from the restrictive reality that we're currently seeing ourselves in, but it's going to happen fractally. And to expect to see this into 2022, we're going to still see what we're seeing in 2022. However, there will be pockets of places reclaiming all across the globe, pockets of places reclaiming their freedoms. Okay. So that was another one. Now, the next message that came in was embodying higher frequencies requires consistency and dedication. There is to be an expected learning curve for each of you, but playing in extreme duality will slow you down and leave you susceptible to more manipulation. Okay? So let me just read that again. Playing in extreme duality will slow you down and leave you susceptible to more manipulation. So it's important for us to really recognize the parts of duality that we're still choosing to play in, to still cause division with. Many of us have come to a deep awakening, and I can speak on my own behalf that I got pulled into this myself last year. Quite a bit when this whole thing started blowing up, March, April, May, June, and I'm just like, really got pulled into the duality of it. But in July, I realized I'm part of the division right now. It's like I'm fighting something. And if I'm fighting something, I'm causing a division in some way. How can I be in acceptance of this? And I had to pull away. I talked about this last summer. I had to pull away from a lot of just my own research, following certain information, and just whether it was social media, the news, like whatever it was, I had to kind of pull away and come back within to recalibrate my own frequency, because I realized I was extremely exhausted and I was absolutely participating in things in a way that I didn't usually participate in. And even this year, around mid-January, when everything kind of just happened the way it did, okay, I personally made a choice over the last few months to just really kind of pull away. It's not that I'm not paying attention to certain things, but I'm really not allowing myself to dance in that realm too long, because there's healing still coming up for me, as I'm sure there's healing coming up for all of us. And it's so important for us to focus on that healing, because the only way that we heal the planet is through ourselves in the microcosm. Now, the other message I have is every thought has a chemical signature. Okay, so every thought that you have has a chemical signature that is produced within your own body. And when you get pulled into the duality of it, where you feel like you just can't believe what's going on, and you're just wanting to fight to have, whether it's your freedoms restored or the truth come out or whatever it may be, that chemical signature, if you continue to have these same thoughts that are divisive, okay, in nature, because they're not in acceptance of, say, someone else's version of the truth, which, remember, truth has different layers of understanding, and that's one of the things we have to honor in the awakening process. We have to honor that when all of us started to awaken, maybe except for a couple, most of us went through layers of awakening, layers of truth that we've started to discover. And we have to understand that someone can only see the consciousness of that truth, or the truth of that consciousness level of wherever they're at. They cannot see beyond it. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. So for all of those of you who are more consciously aware and have been doing a lot of your own healing, the question that I've been asked to ask all of you to, on your own time, is to ask yourself, which chemical signatures are you becoming addicted to that were not part of your process pre-corona? Okay, because there is manipulation going on, and many of us have gotten pulled into it, myself included. So, what are the chemical signatures of those thoughts, and how do you start reducing that? Because once we start to be in a thought form over and over and over again, we get addicted to that actual chemical signature, and we need to be in it more and more and more. And so just pay attention to which ones you were more heavily into before all of this went down in the last year, and where you may have found yourself residing, because there is likely some level of addiction to that chemical signature that is manipulating your frequency by design. Again, I want to say by design, to lower your frequencies. And the reason why I'm talking about frequencies right now is because I'm going to go into the second part of the message, which I did put on social media, on my Instagram and in my Telegram group, which again, guys, please join my Telegram group if you are not already. So I'm going to pull up the Instagram post that I put up. This was part of a message that I received from the Pleiadians as well, that is specifically designed for the Starseed technology class on Monday. Okay, and so it's vibrational vetting. They brought these two words to me, and they said, letting go of vibrational weight. This is what vibrational vetting is. Letting go of vibrational weight that prevents you from entering new states of being and awareness. Your energy field is sacred. What was once a commitment may now be an expired contract. It's time to release and let go. Okay? So, the reason why I'm saying this is because it's time. They said it's time to drop the dead weight, the dead frequencies, in a sense of it's already been done. You've been there long enough. It's time to let it go. And the reason why they said this is because many of us at this current time are being asked to upgrade quickly. And you will not be able to upgrade quickly if you are still holding on to frequencies that are no longer in alignment with the person you are choosing to step into. Okay? So what I wrote here on the post was, vibrational vetting is essential when you are committed to your healing journey and conscious evolution. As you heal and increase your awareness to higher frequencies and higher states of being, you will find yourself in less alignment with commitments you made while in a less healed state. This is very important. I want all of you guys to really kind of think about this. You will find yourself in less alignment with commitments you made while in a less healed state. Oftentimes we feel guilty or held to a certain thing because we made a commitment, or we're in a certain relationship, or maybe it's a job that you started that you thought you loved at the time, but now after some of your healing, all that, you just don't feel the same level of commitment to it. And it's because those commitments were made in a less healed state. You are in a completely new state of being, a new state of awareness that requires you to see a bigger picture. And so it is basically a permission slip that I'm being asked to give many of you, okay, to know that it's okay to understand those commitments now as expired contracts. So continuing on your path will require you to let go of commitments that are now expired contracts. Be okay with that. The lesson is learned, and it's time to move onwards and upwards. Okay, vibrational vetting is part of the ascension pathway. So this is important, okay? And I'm gonna read the actual channel message from the Pleiadians in just a minute, but in the first third of this, the first quarter of this year of 2021, because I chose to kind of pull myself out and really kind of see where I've allowed myself to get too polarized and kind of choose a side, so to speak. By doing that, I started to realize that there were certain things that were really coming to the surface for my own healing that were important for me to deal with. And because of that, because I've chosen to not play in the lower manipulated frequencies and really choose to focus on what it is that I want to create and what frequencies do I need to hold in order to create the reality that I want, not the one that's being manipulated right now, time over time over time. Like, it's just, there's so much power behind that, because I don't have control over TVs. I don't have control over all the radios. I don't have control over all that, right? They do. So they've got a power force behind them. However, I have total power over my own field and my own state of being and awareness. And when I started to do that, I noticed this year that my intuition has increased quite a bit. I'm starting to get more downloads. I'm starting to get more channeled messages. And on top of that, for those of you who are very well aware, I had that bilocation experience a couple weeks ago where I was driving in my car on one highway in one direction, and then within seconds, I'm 10 minutes somewhere else in a completely different highway in a completely different direction in the mountains. Okay. And from what I understand, I know I said this to you guys that, and it came up in one of the podcasts with Marina Jacoby, that I was being kept safe from entering into a situation that would have been disastrous for me. I was as an innocent bystander. And this was later confirmed to me, and that it was ET manipulation on both sides, but the let's say the positive ETs were more powerful and were able to help me out. As well as that, because I knew that it wasn't just a singular kind of experience in a sense of its purpose. I knew that there was more to it, and there were a couple layers to it. The other main layer was that I was receiving a lot more light to come in, and upgrades and attunements to my own body and my own field. So I want to say that it's so important for us to really pay attention to what we're choosing to put our eyes on, what we're choosing to allow through our ears, what we're choosing to take action on. Is it from the state of polarization, or is it a state from wholeness and unity? And those are the things that we need to be aware of. Okay, so let me get into the channeled message here on vibrational vetting. Okay. Oh wow, it's 111 people watching right now. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Vibrational vetting. It's time to let go of outdated alignments. One of the difficult lessons starseeds and empaths struggle with is letting go of people or commitments that are no longer in a vibrational alignment with the person you are stepping into. As you expand your consciousness and more frequently shift into higher states of frequency and awareness, you reach a moment called vibrational vetting. In order to continue forward on your path that your soul has laid out in this lifetime, vibration vetting becomes essential to making new shifts, whether it's entering a new timeline, holding a higher frequency more consistently, and or receiving higher knowledge via downloads from the superconscious. You must be able to let go of vibrational weight that prevents you from entering new states of being and awareness. Align with energy that mirrors the vibrational reality you are choosing to embrace from the heart space. Okay? So that is just something to keep aware of, keep kind of at the forefront of your mind as we're kind of going through this global awakening in many regards, but to remember that nothing supersedes your own individual path. And that, well, let's just face it, the global awakening couldn't have happened without all of us awakening. It just couldn't. It's a reflection of all of us. So we have to continue the journey inward and not allow ourselves to be manipulated and pulled in all these different directions. So just know that the awakening is not what we expected, but everything is on track. The overwhelming message that I keep getting is not to worry, but at the same time, don't take that message to be mistaken for being complacent. There are still many things that you need to do. Just don't operate from the place of fear. Operate from the place of knowing that all is completed. But what do you do to get to that completion? So if you're wanting your freedom restored, how are you liberating yourself from your own chains? Okay, how are you liberating yourself from the thought patterns that hold a chemical signature that keep you in bondage to lower frequency states? Liberate yourself through those ways, as well as in your actual life. Make decisions and choices, even if they're small, they can be really, really small choices on a daily basis that are choosing your freedom, that are choosing you to liberate yourself from feeling stuck or obligated to someone else's version of the truth. And this is how it all happens. And much of the awakening is happening this way to cause many of us to go further inward, to really do that deep dive and to see, what have I missed? Okay, like you kind of look out into your hologram of reality and you're like, okay, I know I did some great stuff up until this point, but this isn't what exactly I was thinking it was all going to go down like. So what else is there? What am I missing? What do I still need to do? And what do I need to have more awareness of? So it's just time to really drop the weight. So don't be afraid to say no to things. If you don't like the truth that you're seeing, or when I say the truth, I mean the reality that you're currently living in, start creating it from a different place and start making little choices that allow you to become more free. And you can do it in a way that doesn't impose your will on anyone else, because remember, that's not what we signed up for. We signed up for the free will path. This is a free will planet and a free will universe. So it's important to note where your energy is going, because remember, when you start to impose your viewpoint on other people without them asking you, it becomes parasitic in nature. And I talked about parasites in my Telegram channel. I dropped a kind of note on parasitic energies in there. And it's important for us to not engage in that parasitic activity, okay? And to just stay within self, be good with you on the inside, and just make everything right for you. And let all of the chips fall where they may. As you increase your own frequency, you're going to find more people who know that frequency because they're higher up. They know, they're in tune to that kind of stuff. They will be pulled to you. There will be divine synchronicities that happen to bring you together, to increase your friend circle or your connections, your networking, all of that. So that's the message that I have from the Pleiadians for you guys on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. Let me just check out the live chat here. Hey, Brooklyn Way. And Patricia, Lori, Susan, Free Press. Awesome. Okay, so Monday, I'm going to put out a video for you guys on energy cord cutting, okay? How I do that, because I feel like it's really apropos at this time as we're trying to cut, as we're doing our vibrational vetting and really making a choice of, this is just no longer in alignment with me and I have to let it go. I have to be willing to say no. I have to be willing to release in order to allow myself to continue ascending into the person I want to step into, and that means like coming from a place of more love, coming from a place of more joy, coming from a place of more peace. Okay, remember, peace is the highest vibration before enlightenment on the consciousness scale. It is higher than love. It is higher than joy. Okay, peace. Look for peace within yourself. Establish more peace within, and you will find yourself amazed of the more mystical and magical moments that come into your life as a result. Okay, so I will do a video Monday afternoon. I think like an earlier one, like around lunchtime, for how to show you, like to tell you guys how I do my cord cutting, so that you guys know how to release yourself from, all of the energies that you're not really wanting to participate with anymore, or don't want, if you have entity attachments or anything like that, this will help. Hi, Geert Van Boxelier. Oh, Berkeley, talk to Yuvonda about this too. So Yuvonda is going to be on my podcast this Tuesday, and guys, I'm so excited to have her on. Her and I were chatting earlier today, and about what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be partly about what I just spoke about right now, like in this video. But we're going to get into the power behind Reiki energy, okay, and how to utilize it. But we're also going to talk about reptilian encounters. We're going to talk about lion being encounters and ship encounters. We're going to talk about it all. So it's going to be a really fun Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I hope you guys come. Yuvonda has an incredible frequency. Our phone conversation dropped several times while we were chatting, just because I'm pretty sure the frequency was screwing up our conversation. Sooterbug, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. So, guys, I love you all. I want to wish you all a very happy Easter. May you all be surrounded in love and light and happiness and joy. And again, if you guys are interested, again, if you want to continue your path of healing, of ascension, increase your frequency, you can join my alchemy program and join the family. The links are in the description below. If you want to join our Starseed technology class Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, link is in the description below. And that's it, guys. I love you so much, and I'll be back with you guys